Hi there, I'm Ahsan Ali Shaw, and you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook Live. Today, we are going to talk about how to rebuild trust in a friendship, relationship, or workplace. Trust is something that we all have different experiences, and it is worth mentioning here that it doesn't matter whatever the relationship is, every relationship revolves around the element of trust. We cannot establish any relationship without trust. And you can build trust by opening up, by sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your history, about your dreams and your insecurities, and with openness, with honesty, with truthfulness, helping other people, and many other ways you can establish trust. And and what happens when the trust is broken? And and different and it is also worth mentioning it here that trusting building a trust, when you're going to establish a trust, and it's a process, it takes a lot of time. And what happens when someone betrays your trust, and how to build trust, how to rebuild it again, at different levels. And that's a topic for discussion today. And my guest is Paul, and he has joined us from Iceland. Hey, Paul.
Iceland. Hi. Nice to see
Oh,
you.
oh, I'm doing good. And how are you doing?
I'm doing much better today than a few days ago. It's been a learning process. I know it sounds
Uh-huh.
like a cliche, but it really
Mm,
has.
mm,
Every day has been different, but
yes.
after
Well,
a good night's sleep and
mhm,
some, good exercise, fresh air,
mhm,
clear thinking, and to be honest,
mhm,
when at least this is my experience, when you have to
mhm,
work through this,
mhm,
the initial um, shock of
mhm,
facing this reality of
mhm,
betrayal,
mhm,
it's no friend or specialist or anyone can help you there. You just have to
mhm,
shovel it
mhm,
yourself. You're on your own, and you
mhm,
have to accept that, and it's the best result,
mhm,
because at the same time you have to face yourself
mhm.
on your
And
own terms, basically.
yeah, yeah, trust is something, or betrayal of trusting. Think, hey, Buddha Cat, how are you? Okay, what do you think about trust, and what are your experiences? Okay, and trusting is a process, and some people are easy to trust, and some people they think that they claim that they put trust everywhere. You
Mm.
meet someone and they talk with someone and they put trust on them. On the other hand,
Yes.
some people have different experiences with trust, and they are not easy to trust because they have got some bad history, or they live in an environment which is not trustworthy. And that's why they have a difficulty to to show interest, show trust, or put trust in others. And it's a mixture of both, but it impacts the element of trust, impacts all of them. For instance, if you are new, if you're easy to trust and the other person betrays you, okay, you it's a betrayal of trust. On the other hand, there is a person who is not easy to trust, and he met someone and who is very trustworthy, but he is not putting trust on his or on, on her. Then it is also a betrayal of trust, that I am very kind, honest, and open with you, but why aren't
Mm.
you showing trust on me? And whether you are easy to trust or not, you are not trusting, or you are not showing trust, and it impacts both of
Mm.
them.
Mm.
And
Well, to begin with, I think trust is, I mean, at least to our
yeah,
Westerners,
mhm,
trust is based on a certain integrity.
mhm, mhm,
So after having been in a relationship for 2 years and
mhm,
you think you know a person
mhm,
in both intimately and as a friend,
mhm,
and yes, there have been difficult times and you have been separated for many
mhm,
reasons, but at the end of the day, you
mhm,
feel that you are loved, and you actually think
mhm,
that your love is based on the same integrity.
mhm,
Yeah, I know it sounds a bit simple, but you don't
mhm,
have anything else to compare it
mhm.
to.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, what we are sort of talking around here is that
Mhm,
I would never do anything to
mhm,
hurt the guy that I've been involved with for 2 years
mhm,
in a way that I would not have withdrawn certain amounts of money from his credit card without asking permission or telling him about
mhm,
that
mhm,
after after being together for 2 years. And
mhm,
this sounds very straightforward and normal, but
mhm,
we're all at the same time, we're all human beings. We all
mhm,
have our weak spots and
mhm,
weaknesses. And it's
mhm,
even though there has been trust and there has been a certain permissiveness on my behalf of helping out with certain things, using my credit card, buying flight airline tickets, or
mhm,
whatever, I was under the impression that he would be free to ask me any sort of favors using my card
mhm,
without abusing the trust of withdrawing this amount of money and putting it in a British bank account in
mhm,
England.
mhm,
So that was the greatest shock. That
mhm,
the balance, there is an imbalance. And
mhm,
if I had kept my head straight or
mhm,
my thought clear,
mhm,
I would have noticed obviously that from day one he was hiding our relationship. He is
mhm,
closeted still.
mhm,
So I cannot ask him to
mhm,
be have everything on the table when he's
mhm,
actually hiding the relationship
mhm,
and hiding me from his family and his
mhm,
friends.
mhm.
So I cannot expect him to be fully, well, controlled
Mhm,
by the same integrity
mhm. I
when
think,
it comes to this.
yeah, I think you are not sure in the beginning of every relationship that you like someone or you join a new workplace
Mm,
and everyone shows the same interest that we are trustworthy and we are the on the same page, we are like-minded people. Everyone shows the same attitude and same behavior in the beginning, and the truth and the reality and uh, it becomes lucid much later when something comes up or something happens. It's not clear in the beginning.
I am afraid when you
Hmm.
talk about workplaces,
Hmm.
there is also a certain level of competition there.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in a situation where you are, um, well, in some way, a threat
Hmm.
to your supervisors or
Hmm.
your
Managers.
subordinates,
Hmm.
managers, or whatever, and there was this paramedic that warned me
Hmm.
in 1989,
Hmm.
and she said these interesting words:
Hmm.
never ever let your boss realize that you're smarter than her.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
keeping
eh,
that in mind, a workplace can easily become a battlefield
yes.
where there is no integrity at all, none
Hmm. Yeah.
whatsoever. So again, we're supposed to be talking about trust. But it's,
mhm.
to me, it's inseparable with integrity, to be honest.
Yeah. Mhm. And I think it's honesty as well, with integrity, with honesty, with truthfulness, and with openness. It's a trust is an integration of many elements,
Mm,
and when you combine it, then it becomes trust. And it is not easy to show trust or to put trust, but when you are betrayed by your lover or your friend or your colleague, then it really is difficult to, and you have to go through, there's no shortcut to it, and you have to
mm.
learn everything by the very by a very difficult experiences. You have to go through it with the pain, and with sleepless nights, and with a thought that is clinging to your mind, like some kind of uh, some kind of insect that just sticks with you. And the same thing, a thought of betrayal, it just sticks to your mind, and you just can't get it out from your mind.
Well,
And
yeah, part of the work that you
mhm,
go through when you,
mhm,
because obviously the question is why?
mhm,
Why did
mhm,
this happen? And
mhm,
you go over it, and
mhm,
it's almost,
mhm,
sometimes I feel that one of my strongest abilities is
mhm,
to distance myself from
mhm,
my own life,
mhm,
and take a few steps back and
mhm,
view the last 2 years to observe the character,
mhm,
the person itself, and
mhm,
then the behavior,
mhm,
and try to understand that there's discrepancy
mhm,
between that person that you are heavily involved with and
mhm,
deeply in love with and
mhm,
respect. But there's an aspect to his behavior that you don't understand.
mhm,
And in that behavior, you get those messages that he doesn't really trust you.
mhm,
And you don't know,
mhm,
why doesn't he trust me? I trust
mhm,
him. Why doesn't
mhm,
he trust me?
mhm. And there's a comment from Buddha Cat, and I think it's relevant to your point. And she says, "Yes, I agree. Integrity goes across the board in all dealings, both in personal and professional life." And yeah, and there's also, forgiveness. And thank you for mentioning it. It is not easy to forgive, and when you forgive someone, you are not forgiving the other person. Actually, you are doing it for your own self, for the peace of your own mind. I know it sounds a bit cliche and something that it
Mm,
is I'm talking out of my head, but it is the reality. And when you let go something, you forgiving, you are you are doing it for your own self. I am a kind of person that it is not easy for me to trust or to forgive someone.
yes,
Very difficult
yes.
for me to forgive someone. But
Mm,
when you do it, and you are doing it for your own self. You are
mm,
just getting off those loose ties.
mm. Well, to be honest, when
Mm-hmm,
I did this work after
mm-hmm,
I got some sleep, because
mm-hmm,
the part of the problem on Sunday was I didn't get any sleep. I drove all night from up north to Reykjavik
mm-hmm,
in this old Jeep that I knew nothing about. And it was something because I had to hire myself as a driver for this Jeep to be
mm-hmm,
able to pick my ex up, because he
mm-hmm,
had driven off the road on the way and had been admitted to hospital, but was released within 2 hours there. So
mm-hmm,
I was in shock as well, after having learned that he had done these things with my
mm-hmm,
credit card. And so we met in the middle of the night at 1:30 in the night, and I saw what happened. It was just a puncture, and he wasn't badly damaged or anything. I mean, there was
mhm,
nothing there, nothing to complain about. And I told him to, hop on board, and I wanted to go back to Akureyri, which is only about 2 hours drive from
mhm,
where this happened. But he insisted to go to Reykjavik, where we
mhm,
live, and I was slightly surprised,
mhm,
but I'm not now, because obviously he knew that I was on the track of discovering more discrepancies about
mhm,
those money transfer off my credit card that I
mhm,
hadn't yet seen.
mhm,
So in that very morning when I fell asleep before 6 a.m., he never went to bed. And then, 2 hours later, when I woke up, he
mhm,
was gone and told me that he needed to stay away from me.
mhm,
And I was scared, because I thought, I was scared of his life, actually, that he
mhm,
might do something to himself. So,
mhm,
but then later on, I couldn't get any sleep, so I went into my private bank account and to check on the credit card, and then I saw um, three other interesting
transaction.
transference of money into
Mhm,
this through a secret coded sort of thing that I knew nothing about. And I was facing the fact that within 7 days, he had transferred 1,150 British pounds
mhm,
to an English bank account that I knew
mhm,
nothing about.
mhm,
And that was, and because of obviously it's my credit card. So
mhm,
the process
mhm,
of forgiving this was
mhm.
obviously to
Was
shoulder my responsibility. I had
mhm,
allowed him the access to my card.
mhm,
So I was part of the problem. I had
mhm,
trusted him, yes,
mhm,
based on a mutual integrity between us.
mhm.
And
I,
so I was
I,
part of the problem in a way.
mhm. I had the not similar but different type of experience. Now, it never involved money, but I live in a society is a very Pakistani, Indian, and Asian Punjabi society is a very conservative and narrow-minded society. And I was born here and I grew up and I still live here. And many people. I also spent a lot of time with British Americans, and that's where I learned English. And anyways, the point is about my experiences. I had
Mm,
been betrayal of trust, you can say, or betrayal of love, you can say, or
mm,
whatever you say. I was involved in a relationship, in a love triangle, not triangle, love relationship. It was kind, it was mutual and both sided, but there was the element of the society and of the family, her family and my family, and is what they both were involved,
mm,
and it was fine in the beginning, but
mm,
when I was involved very deeply, and we were at the point of getting married,
mm,
and at that point, their family they just jumped in and they said, no, you're not going uh,
mm.
to to pursue this relationship anymore
Right.
because because there's uh, the cost is involved because we are some type of higher people to your family because your family is at the lower level or our family. It's just a perception of their
Right.
perception. It was their perception. They were just comparing it, and the
Uh,
girl she also
yes.
uh, and she also took the side of her family. I don't blame
Mm,
her. because it's a narrow-minded conservative society. Girl has to stick with the family. But I
Mm-hmm.
was uh, the thing I noticed that I wanted the I knew about these things, that her family was pushing her to say no,
Mm.
and but she was never fully honest with me to tell me that it was her family, not herself. And I found out much later that the reality. But it was the whole process of it, and I was at the point of uh, uh, nervous breakdown, I would say.
Yes.
The Because when you are young, fully hormones, your hormones are
Yes.
very high, and you love someone, it's an intensity and
Yes.
excitement, and you want to be someone. And I'm still
It's
young, but
yes.
yeah, but at that point, when you have that level of feelings, it is very intense and very exciting and very fearful, and you are willing to do anything.
It's the end of the world. It's the end of the
Yeah,
world. Yes, I've
yeah.
been there myself. I have
Mhm,
been young too,
mhm,
and it's that. And the thing is, what you are
mhm,
saying now about
mhm,
betrayal and being
mhm,
caught
mhm,
under pressure from a certain culture or
mhm,
family, you can say whatever because obviously there is a problem with the different cultures. I will
mhm,
never undermine that. I will never deny
mhm,
that.
mhm,
So in being in order to be fully, what can I say, truthful to his family, he needed to keep me a secret 3,000 miles away, sort of, so, and he managed to do that. And it was, in a way, I have to admire the way he did it because I mean, both of them, his mother and his sister are both married. So the family name, I could not find anyone with that family name anywhere. And so I couldn't even find them, his family, if I tried. And but the thing is that I was being honest and open about our relationship to all my friends, but he was keeping me a secret to his.
yeah.
And
It is
that is,
also,
and in a way, that
yeah,
is a betrayal too, isn't it? For two
yeah,
years, so
yeah,
so to what extent? I mean,
mhm,
like you were expressing the way you felt, obviously much
mhm,
younger, which is
mhm,
much worse than being
mhm,
older. I mean,
yeah,
being young is like hell on earth. I can
uh-huh,
tell you that.
mhm,
Being young in love,
mhm.
I,
It's
I,
hell on earth.
it's terrible. It's
Mhm,
terrifying.
mhm,
So what I just did and went through is nothing compared to that.
mhm. Yeah, you mentioned something that uh, he was keeping you a secret, and it raises a very another point that you are involved with someone, and the other person is keeping you a secret, and is at a at some time, I don't know the exact word to say it in English, that you are the second preferences. Okay, my first preferences is that person. If doesn't work out, then I'll keep
Mm.
this one. And it
Hmm.
also happens in a relationship. And my after my love, the betrayal of trust and love, and I was also for a brief time uh, also in love with my ex, and just started we just started talking, and it's a reignition of the old feelings with my previous ex. I don't know how to say it, but am I making any sense?
Oh, you are. You are.
uh, okay.
I'm experienced in X's.
Okay,
I call
my
them
previous
XX and XXXX and all that. Yeah.
okay. Uh, there too, yeah, love. The first love, I've already told you there was family involved, and the second,
Mm-hmm.
my second previous ex, after the current ex, I was involved with the previous ex or ex
Mm-hmm.
ex, and she was. I realized that I was not the first preferences. You just feel these things. The other
Oh
person doesn't
yes,
call you on
yes.
time, and there's a lack of commitment, lack of honesty. The other person, you
Mm-hmm.
are opening up, you are opening your heart, your feelings, you are putting everything out there, and the other person is not your partner. She was not just opening up to me, just like she had before. She used to very open, and when the other person shows trust and love, you just feel these things. And I felt it, and
Mm-hmm.
I talked to her, but she just avoided it. And at that time, I realized that I am the second preferences. I just stopped talking, and I realized that, and I was right because I was the second preferences or third or fourth preference, and she never called me back. She never texted. Never did anything. And I realized that I was actually the second. And
Mm-hmm.
I noticed this much earlier. If I wasn't involved and kept on following her, then I would be at a very deeper state of hurt or betrayal and a pain.
But the thing is,
Hmm.
in a way,
Hmm.
I think from day one, obviously
Hmm.
when we met as
Hmm.
friends
Hmm.
and built up a friendship for 7 weeks
Hmm.
before it evolved into a
Hmm.
love affair, if you like.
Hmm. Yeah.
I opened up to him probably too much.
Mhm,
I told him too much. I was too
mhm,
open.
yeah,
I was too
mhm,
Scandinavian for an
mhm,
Italian.
yeah,
I disclosed my former love affair with this Moroccan man that
mhm,
had lasted for almost 6 months.
mhm,
But it stopped where he couldn't really leave his country to enter Iceland to live with me here. So
mhm,
and that had just ended in January 2019. And then I met this guy, this Sicilian Italian,
mhm,
in March, 2 months later. And I was in no shape, size, or form to form a new relationship, obviously, which was not my intention. This guy
mhm,
wanted to get involved in the gays community in Reykjavik, and he asked me to help sort of
mhm,
meet him, sort of mingle with other gay men.
mhm,
And I assumed he was looking for somebody his age, obviously.
mhm,
So, but when it came to it, he was always too busy, and it was more about seeing me in cafes and restaurants and whatever.
mhm,
So it left me a bit confused. But as I got to know him,
mhm,
I realized I liked the character. I liked the personality. I was intrigued by his old-fashioned ways of seeing
mhm,
things, and again the integrity that he showed me at the time, and the very proper behavior that he showed me
mhm.
led me to believe that this guy was full of integrity and good intentions. And
Into me,
when
yeah,
I had no reason. And when he asked me, if there was a possibility that we could become, intimate, I saw no reason why we shouldn't, but I reminded him about the age
mhm,
difference.
yeah,
That was my only concern. But at
mhm,
the same time, I didn't realize and appreciate the difference in the cultural aspect of
mhm,
it. And
mhm,
that was the main problem of the relationship from day one. That being involved with a Sicilian
mhm,
man is basically, well, you're sort of his possession,
mhm,
and if he's away, you're not supposed to go to public places.
mhm,
with a friend because it's improper. You know, it's
mhm,
almost like 18th century thing in
mhm,
Europe.
mhm, mhm,
At first, I thought he was joking, of course, but he
mhm,
wasn't.
mhm.
So I
It's
was
not.
there, over
Mhm,
60, facing
mhm,
a younger, much younger guy in his late 30s,
mhm,
being more old fashioned than I was.
mhm. And I live in a society of the 16th century, where
Mm,
women are not allowed to. Actually, it's a very the Muslim world and Pakistani Muslim world, uh, where
mm,
I live in, it's a highly misogynistic society. Women
mm,
are not considered equal. They say it
mm,
equal, but in reality, when you talk about rights, when you talk about the openness and
mm,
emancipation rights, they don't have. They are in true sense, the second citizen. Because when you can't go out for walk in public, you can't do anything without the male presence. Then you are the second citizen. And
mm.
I was very open, and I started writing about these things about uh, in the local language. Then
Ah,
yeah, they understand. Okay, I'm speaking English now. It doesn't matter to them because nobody cares about these things, so it doesn't matter. But when I say these things in the local language in Urdu, the people they understand. Then at that point, I become a threat,
mm,
and I was at the point of the mob started talking about me, and they started inquiring about me, and I just left those things. And many friends, many Western friends, they said you have good thoughts, but you live in a different part of the world. It is
mm,
important to be alive than being cared
mm.
on your point,
Conviction.
or yeah, on your
Yes,
conviction, on your
yes.
belief. It is not okay to be killed on your
No,
belief. Yeah,
no.
yeah. You just stay alive, stay under the radar, and keep pushing or keep following your your belief or your conviction and your points that you want to pursue. And yeah, and I wanted to attach it with my betrayal. Yeah, with it is also not easy for the girls to openly share their feelings, and in this society, they do it, they hide it, and
Right.
they don't disclose these things. But
Mm,
yeah, it's the main thing is openness. Yeah, when you are involved with someone, you just have to openly, yeah, not publicly. You just have to
no, you
open
don't have. Yeah.
with one person that you are involved with.
But the integrity part about
Yeah.
telling what
Mm-hmm,
has happened over the last 12 months before you met this guy,
mm-hmm,
I told him the truth that I had gone to
mm-hmm,
Morocco, met this man, we fell in love. It was a real relationship, but it
mm-hmm,
ended because he couldn't face it. He couldn't
mm-hmm,
face um, his family, telling them that he was involved with
mm-hmm,
this Icelandic guy. So
mm-hmm,
he actually fled to Tunisia,
mm-hmm,
another North African country, which is slightly more relaxed and
mm-hmm,
has more job opportunities. So
mm-hmm,
that's why that ended. It didn't end because we got tired of each other. So,
mm-hmm.
so in a way, like you said, number two, I suspect, and I will
Yeah.
not deny this,
uh,
I will never
yeah.
deny this, that as much
Yeah,
as I
Amanda.
tried,
Mm-hmm,
Amanda, yes,
mm-hmm,
that as much as he kept asking me about
mm-hmm,
2 months into the love affair,
mm-hmm,
he kept asking me, are you still thinking about Hisham
mm-hmm,
in in this other country?
mm-hmm,
And I repeatedly said, I have made my choice.
mm-hmm,
I have chosen you.
mm-hmm.
But if he had asked, am I your
A
first
different question.
choice?
Yeah.
I I would have been in a bit of a dilemma, but he never asked. So, in a
Mm-hmm.
way, like you point out, maybe he felt that he was the second choice.
Yeah.
So, to give him the benefit of the doubt, perhaps his feeling of the betrayal or distrust of me, or maybe that discontent, that
Mm-hmm.
feeling that if, if I had the chance to live a full life with the other guy, he would never have had stood a chance with me. So
Mm-hmm.
in a way, I think he was aware that he was a second choice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that may have corrupted the relationship from day one without me realizing it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was down to a political decision of making this choice,
Mm-hmm.
which of course it was for me because I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to make a life
Yeah.
for me
I think.
with a man that I trusted.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we started our topic was a bit open, and we talk about how to build trust in a relationship. We have been discussing relationship, and we haven't talked about the workplace trust. And I think we should discuss it again in the workplace. And we
Mm,
have talked about trust in a relationship, and we
hmm.
talk about trust in a workplace and trust in a friendship. There's also a completely different things. And we have discussed so much openness, integrity, and the first preferences, and sharing your feeling, being kind, and many other things you can build trust. And
Mm.
thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Burakat, and thank you, other people, for watching us, for your views, for your wonderful comments. And have a good
Yes.
day, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. If you have any question, just leave it in the comment box below. I'll answer it to you, or Paul will get back to you as soon as he can. And thank you. I'll see you next week.
Bye.